Tarakai's a crazy name, it's gonna be a blast. It's the Kiro Tarakai GameCast.
What is up, friends? Well, Christmas time, of course. That holly jolly time of year when you build candy canes and eat snowballs, I guess? Yeah, that time of year. Also, what is up is the third episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast, the podcast where the authors of Kiro Tarakai, and perhaps an occasional guest, cover the old and the new of gaming, and everything in between. Now, how can we rival our lengthy first episode and our exciting Nintendo Direct second episode? Well, we can't. We simply can't. If there's one thing that Kiro Tarakai has taught me, it is that eventually you will reach a point where outdoing yourself will be extremely stressful and hard, if not impossible. But enough of my life lessons. Let me go ahead and introduce the guest for this episode in a new and unique way by presenting a Christmas time memory that I have of each guest. First up, I remember getting some crazy, unexpected, and just plain weird gifts with this guest during some crazy white elephant gift exchanges. It's Drago. Hello, Drago. Hello. Do you remember at all those crazy gifts exchanges?
Oh, I do. I think I got like a what was it, like a selfie stick. I got a selfie stick there once.
There were some interesting gifts. All right, and this next memory for our last guest is actually from after Christmas time, but it does involve snow. It was a fun time going really fast as I snow tubed with Fluffy. Hi, Fluffy.
Oh, hello.
Remember that snow tubing, Fluffy?
Yes.
Yep, we did. We did that 2 years in a row. So yeah, the first time we did that was the time that I told you, Drago, and DJ Dwanner about my plans for the Infinity Mushroom War. And the second year was the same day that I first played Super Mario Maker 2. So whenever I go snow tubing with Fluffy, good things happen. And I haven't been snow tubing with you in a long time, so nothing good has happened since then.
So I would like to say the one part I do remember that trip the most is that it was a coin when I was going up the escalator. That's what I remember.
Well, thank you all for being here. With all of you introduced, it's time for trivia time. So, here in the time known as trivia time, I present a piece of video game trivia. Today's question is, where did the name Tetris come from? All right, so does anybody know where the name Tetris came from? What is its origin? Any guesses?
No, I have no clue. I feel like I should know this somewhere.
Just give a wild guess. What do you guys think?
Probably something in like Japanese or something.
Something in Russian. Who's Russian? I think
It's Russian.
it's Russian. I think.
Russian.
I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure.
Yep. So, something in Japanese and something in Russian. So, those are actually pretty good guesses thinking about word origins for different games. But now, once again, the answer to this trivia shall not be revealed until the very end of this episode. Now, with trivia time over, it is time for the next time. It's time for topic time. So it's time for topic time, where we discuss the main topic of this episode. The topic for today is the games we are excited about for next year, for 2022. So, what games are we excited about for next year?
Definitely, Legends Arceus. There's really only like 3 games I know about coming out in 2022 that I'm excited for. like bigger titles. That definitely has to be like Legend Arceus, Splatoon 3, and Breath of the Wild 2. Two of those we know nothing about, so basically just Legends Arceus.
Yeah. So, we've got talking about Pokemon, Pokemon Legends, and I'm sorry. Wait, is it Arceus or Arceus?
No clue.
I'm a Pokemon noob, so I'd say Arceus, but that's only because I'm so used to hard C's because I study too much Latin. But so yeah, that's actually next year. That's actually coming out next month. So that's pretty soon. That's pretty exciting to see Pokemon go in a new direction maybe with this new spinoff. Like it looks more open. They've said it's not fully open world. It's more just interconnected areas. But fortunately, it looks like more open areas at least.
Probably Kirby and the Forgotten Land as well. Though, like I said before, we don't also know about that either. So
yeah, that's probably actually number 2 for my list. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. If you had told me a couple months ago that I would be excited for a new Kirby game, I would have been a bit skeptical of your claim. Don't get me wrong, I love the Kirby series. It's just that, there are some solid platformers in the Kirby series, and Kirby's Dream Collection is one of the best collections of classic games out there. And I enjoyed Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Wii quite a bit. But I've yet to dive deeply into Kirby Star Allies because, well, it doesn't seem as satisfying and enjoyable of a platformer. Like most Kirby games, it suffers under the flaw that is far too simple and far too easy. But this Kirby and the Forgotten Land, this one has me excited and interested. It's the first 3D Kirby game ever. So it's looking to be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to that. Any other thoughts on Kirby and the Forgotten Land?
I am definitely excited to actually see a video game franchise fully go into 3D. Because like everything else has been either done before I either was even born or was able to actually recognize it happening. So it's interesting to see Kirby be able to do that and with me around.
Yeah, and the setting is so great. It's this post-apocalyptic city thing. That's so cool.
True Kirby.
Yeah, 3D abilities. That's gonna be fun.
Nice. First monkeys or apes.
Yep. And I said, so number 2 for me is, of course, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But, of course, definitely at the top of my list and at the top of the list of many other people is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I'm not the kind of person who needs to get a new game the day of it's released. I usually don't get anything launch day. I'm wanting to wait and see how it is. But I think that Breath of the Wild 2 is such a big deal that I'm going to want to play it the day of launch. I mean, it's the sequel to one of the greatest games of all time. Count me in. I'm excited for the new gameplay additions. I'm excited for the new plot. I'm excited to explore the wide, wonderful, and wild world of Breath of the Wild once again in new and interesting ways. I'm just excited for the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I could go on for quite a while for just how excited I am about that game. So is anyone else excited about that game?
Yeah, I'm excited what they're gonna do with the map, and I don't think they could start Link off with full health and stamina. So it's gonna be interesting how they're going to reset this for a second game.
Yeah, he's basically going to have to lose everything that he's gained in Breath of the Wild.
Canonically, he's the speedrunner who beat Ganon with a stick.
Yes.
It's the canonical ending.
Or perhaps like that arm that grabs him, or the corruption of the malice. Maybe that probably goes him down to just 2 hearts and makes him lose everything. So that's looking to be very exciting.
I was gonna say the Master Sword. I wonder if it'll like you could level up the Master Sword, or they'll just do a takeaway again. I just don't know how they would make the sword disappear. Maybe it could get broken and you have to make a new one. Possibilities are endless.
It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, maybe the malice drains the Master Sword of its power, and that'd be interesting to see it level up. But again, we barely know anything about this. And LEGO games are a bit hit and miss with me and my tastes, but I am looking forward to LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I like Legos and I like Star Wars, though not as much as my older brother, with whom I'll probably play the new game. So the new LEGO Star Wars game will have a ton of characters and will, following recent trends, be more open world. So that's nice. That's going to be interesting. Lots of open world games, and of course, it's running on a new engine, NT. So we'll see how that runs. And then we've also got Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That's looking to be an interesting and unexpected sequel to an interesting and unexpected game. And man, I still need to beat the first game. And also, as Fluffy pointed out in our second episode, in Sparks of Hope, Mario wields dual blasters, which makes him resemble Star-Lord, who in the MCU is played by none other than Chris Pratt, who'll be voicing Mario in Illumination's Super Mario movie. But we'll talk about that in just a bit. We can go on for quite a while about the Mario movie, and we will in just a bit. But right now, we're talking about games we're excited for next year. Like, we've also got that new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers. That's open world. That's looking to be interesting as well. Sonic Origins, like we were saying earlier, Splatoon 3, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. And also then Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which was delayed. It was supposed to be released this month, but unfortunately it's been delayed. So that's a lot of games coming next year. Any of those make you guys excited?
This is the first time I've heard of a Sonic Frontier. So
yeah, it was announced at the Game Awards just a couple days ago, as of the recording of this episode, and it's gonna be more open world Sonic, so that's gonna be interesting to see that. So yeah, any other games you guys are excited about for 2022? Any others that you can think of off the top of your head? Well, because I can't really think of any. We've listed a bunch already because there is a lot of really great looking games coming next year. And I'm thinking 2022 might just be the best year for Nintendo Switch owners since launch year, since 2017. And we aren't even in 2022 yet, and we already know all these titles are coming. I'm sure the Big N still has some incredible surprises waiting for us next year. And so those are quite a few exciting releases coming out next year. It's going to be a very good year for games. Hopefully. Can't count all your eggs before they hatch. But with the announcements we've seen so far, it's going to be a pretty great year. So now let's move on to our next segment, the Game and Console Zone. So this is the Game and Console Zone, where, just like in the Game and Console Zone in the Kiro Tarakai magazine, we discuss the latest and the not so latest in gaming, consoles, and gaming news. So the first subsegment within this segment is Game Watch Reviews, where we all share the games that we've been playing recently and our thoughts and opinions on them. So what games have you guys been playing recently, and what do you think of them? But real quick, before you start, now I know one of the games that you have been playing a bit in the past few months, Fluffy, and I'd probably like you to go last, because my ideology with good things is to save the best for last. I mean, you only have dessert after you eat your veggies and meat first, so we'll save you for last. We'll go ahead and say, Drago, what games have you been playing recently?
I've mainly just been playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z. It's a team fighting game where it's 3-on-3. And that's about it, really. I got some games recently, but I just can't download them because the internet's not good enough in there. It's autumn sale.
So yeah, I've been playing the somewhat wonderful Pikmin Bloom. I would rate it an 8 out of 10. It is nothing more than an overglorified Pikmin pedometer with a few side attractions. It has nothing more and nothing less. That's why so many people are disappointed with it. They come in expecting a fun game that they will actively be playing, but that is just not the case. Most of the time, you'll just have it in your pocket and go for a walk and just check it occasionally, but that's it. That's really it. So don't come into Pikmin Bloom with the wrong expectations. It is not Pikmin 4. it's mostly just a pedometer. It's a free app. It's just a pedometer. It's a fun pedometer, but it's just a pedometer. I just hope it succeeds. I just hope it succeeds. I absolutely love Pikmin and hope that anything Pikmin succeeds. But it has only been downloaded 2 million times in the first 2 weeks compared to the 10 million downloads Pokemon Go received in the first day in Japan only, just in Japan. So I'm hoping it has some level of success. Wait, if I delete it and then download it again, does that count as a download? If so, I'm just going to go spam on my phone, just delete and then download again, because I really want Pikmin to become less niche and become just a big Nintendo staple like Mario or Zelda, because Pikmin is just such an amazing, unique, and fun franchise. I just love it so much. But enough of my ranting. Pikmin Bloom is not the only game that I've been playing. Another game that I've been playing that you have to come into with the right expectations is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I picked up the original to play before I start to play the HD port, and I came in with somewhat low expectations, so I was only partially disappointed. The puzzles are great. Zelda puzzles are always great. I love the puzzles and the dungeons, but a problem I hear a lot with the game, the problem I am experiencing with the game, is that the overworld is just so linear. It feels more like you're on a giant playground or an obstacle course rather than an actual world. None of the design feels organic or natural. It is, however, decent so far. Definitely worth a playthrough. Worth a second playthrough? I wouldn't say as much, but I'll rate Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword an 8 out of 10. The puzzles are great, but it's kind of linear, and it doesn't feel like an immersive world. And then also, I have been playing Animal Crossing, enjoying the huge update and the fun DLC, but we'll talk about that later. And I, unlike Fluffy, have not been playing a certain Metroid game, but I have rather been playing another Metroid game, Super Metroid. And man, oh man, have I been enjoying it. It is truly an incredible game. I started playing it before I got my Switch, and then, well, I got my Switch and kind of forgot about Super Metroid. I picked it up around the same time a certain Metroid game released, and man, oh man, is it good. It is good. It is good. It is so good. I understand why it is easily considered one of the greatest games of all time. I often get lost in Metroidvanias, but I've gotten used to them now. Just the exploring and the finding secrets and the empowerment and satisfaction of getting a new upgrade, just backtracking after that, and then using the upgrade to access a whole new area. It's just so satisfying and enjoyable. I've reached the final boss in Super Metroid and have put the game on hold for a bit just to savor the journey that I've been on in Super Metroid. Once I do beat the final boss, I think I shall immediately start a second playthrough without a doubt. Maybe get a better time and just enjoy the journey again. Super Metroid definitely deserves a 9.5 out of 10. Lastly, before we get to the game that Fluffy has been playing, I've also been playing a bit of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker HD, as well as Mario Party Superstars and WarioWare Get It Together with my family, good old family. But I have not played these titles enough to conclusively decide my opinion on them. If I had to rate them, I would say Wind Waker HD is a 9 out of 10, Mario Party Superstars is a 7 out of 10, and WarioWare Get It Together is a 7.5 out of 10. Though I haven't come to conclusive opinions on them, I would say this. They are all a great time, and I look forward to playing them some more over the holidays. Mario Party Superstars and WarioWare Get It Together are fantastic fun with family and friends, and the Wind Waker is just wonderful. The puzzles, though usually pretty easy, are just so satisfying and enjoyable, as are all the Legend of Zelda puzzles, for the most part. So yeah, I look forward to playing these great games some more over the holidays. And now, we've said, all of us, except for Fluffy, have said what games we've been playing recently. So now it's time for Fluffy to tell us, what dreadful game have you been playing recently?
Well, not to delay you any longer, but I've got a couple of games I'd like to talk about really quick. So Bloons Tower Defense Battles 2. I would probably have to rate a 8 out of 5 simply because while it is absolutely brilliant, there is a very limited scope of what you can do since it is just the battling part, and the short battles allow not for much variation in what towers you use. But it's still incredibly fun, and I will be playing that for a while. Now, as for what we've been waiting for, Metroid Dread. I'm positive, it would be a 10 out of 10 because I'm absolutely having a blast moving around. One thing is definitely running around in other areas incredibly fast as I have learned my way around. Bosses are brilliant, especially the robot bosses, weaving and jumping around and charging up shots. It's incredibly satisfying. The enemy are terrifying, and it takes me, I am not kidding, several attempts just going into the room and immediately counting and leaving every single time until I actually get brave enough to head through an enemy room. So I am always get stuck with those parts of just sheer not wanting to do it. And I've had an incredible time. The story is mysterious, and I'm engaged so far. I have not been in it yet, since every time I get to an enemy room, I have to put it off for a day until I muster up enough bravery. But despite that, I am still have a lot of fun inside the enemy rooms. It's very stressful, but it's kind of fun at the same time. And it's quite different to some other experiences I've had with things chasing you. I do not have good memories of things like that. So overall, I have had an incredible time with this game, and plan to continue playing with it, and may even play it a second time if I find the time to actually pick it up. So yeah, 10 out of 10, definitely a classic. Anyone who is even briefly played any Metroid game should definitely consider picking this up. And that's my thoughts.
Definitely. Such a dreadful game. Alright, now that we've all said what games we've all been playing recently, it is time for the next subsegment of the Game and Console Zone. What's new in the news? To kick off the news section, I'll just rapidly give a review of recent releases. So in October, we had Metroid Dread, which outsold every other Metroid game within its first week in Japan alone. So it's sold very well. And it has a rating of 88 on Metacritic. Mario Party Superstars, which has a rating of 79 on Metacritic, also released that same month. And last month, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl were released. Predictably, they have sold many millions, but only have a rating of 74 on Metacritic. And earlier this month, Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain released, and it currently has a Metacritic rating of 72. Any thoughts on these recent releases?
I've yet to play Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I do plan on getting it probably tomorrow. So, as well as Metroid Dread, definitely give it a higher score. As for that, don't know much about the other titles.
Maybe you should play some Brain Age.
No, I'd wreck you.
Right, and any other recent releases you guys can think about? Any other recent releases that come to mind? Okay. We need to talk. We need to go ahead and get this weight off of our shoulders. We need to talk somewhat briefly about Illumination's Mario movie. Now, we could, myself especially, talk and rant quite a while about it. This movie is either going to be the worst movie ever made or the best movie ever made. It's really going to be interesting. I am cautiously optimistic about it. My hopes are low, and my fears are very, very many. Plot, characters, animation, and dialogue. So there's a lot to fear. So plot, with Miyamoto working with Illumination on the film, is it just going to be a basic Bowser kidnaps the princess again story? Or is it actually going to have some lore and origins? Characters, seeing what characters are in the film makes me hope it will be the latter type of plot, maybe some sort of origin story. You've got your Mario, your Luigi, your Princess Peach, your Bowser, just your usual Mario characters. But Foreman Spike, Cranky Kong, a fairly obscure Mario character, and a character from a Mario spinoff? What? Well, it seems Miyamoto has hopefully been making the people at Illumination do their research. And then animation. What will this look like? Will it just look like your traditional, somewhat lazy Illumination animation? Or look like just one big, long Super Mario Odyssey cutscene? What will its visual style be? And then dialogue? To be honest, a fake Italian accent is not all that hard to do. I mean, DJ Duaner does an excellent Mario voice for Dr. Hat-Hat in the Fun Fan Fiction Frenzy. The weird thing won't be that Chris Pratt is voicing Mario. I'm sure Chris Pratt will do fine, and I apologize for screaming at him in the last episode of the GameCast. But the weird thing will be that Mario shall be talking complete, full sentences, presumably. Like, "Hey, Luigi, go to McDonald's and get me a Big Mac with extra pickles and no ketchup, will ya, bro?" He's going to say full sentences. That's going to be weird. There are a lot of fears. There's a lot to worry about in this production. How can you adapt something so simple and classic as Mario to the silver screen? How do you work with a character known to barely and rarely talk? How? How is this gonna work? Well, Illumination, being an intelligent and sophisticated corporation, decided to do what everyone else does with animated films. They simply slapped some celebrities' names on the project. Good thinking, Illumination. Good thinking. You did the unpredictably predictable. I wonder if they even care about making a good movie. Hopefully they do, but I hope they don't just know it's going to make millions of dollars anyway and are just making it. But enough of my rampant ranting and ceaseless cynicism. I want to hear you guys, your opinions on the Mario movie. What are your hopes, your fears, your dreams?
I really, really would not know. I haven't really been thinking about it since it was announced. I just started and kind of faded into the background. I really wouldn't really care regardless of how it goes, since I probably wouldn't be watching it much anyway. It's like Elijah watched it. But I definitely do hope.
How do you not watch a movie much? You watch a show a little bit. You have to finish a movie once you start it.
Again,
I hope it doesn't start in the Mushroom Kingdom.
yeah,
Get a bit more of the I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for it. If it's really all gonna just hope it pans out once the trailer comes out. You can go so many different directions with so many different ways to tell a Mario story. So let's just hope Illumination doesn't go the lazy route.
I'll wrap up discussion on the Mario movie real quick by saying that I'm sure we shall all be talking about this in another episode, especially when a trailer releases, as Drago said. I have lots more thoughts, but I'll share them some other day because, as I said, I bet we could all rant on about this for quite some time. All I shall say is that only time can tell how the Mario movie will turn out. And speaking of time, let's make the most of it and move on to our next news discussion. So our next news discussion is actually not about a game, but about a month. Let me ask you guys, was October just a dream? Was it real? I mean, Metroid Dread and the Nintendo Switch OLED model just 8 days in, an Animal Crossing Direct 8 days later, Sora and Smash 3 days after that, and then the cherry on top of the cake, at least for me, Pikmin Bloom. Was October real? It was just such an unbelievable month. So we've already talked about how wonderfully dreadful Metroid Dread is. It is the game that we have been waiting for so long, and it just came out of nowhere. It was such a wonderful surprise. So let's talk a bit about the Animal Crossing update. Does anybody have thoughts on it?
I have not touched Animal Crossing, so
Don't say anything. I'm excited that they added a bunch of new characters, or not new characters, but added a bunch of old characters back, like Brewster. He's a part of the game now. I love that. I used to just, in Animal Crossing Wild World for the DS, I used to just save up a bunch of money and get coffee. It was crazy. But Yeah, they've added a bunch of stuff, and they're keeping the game alive, which is good because I've always found it to be the blandest one. Really.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk just a bit, now that you guys have shared your thoughts, about the Animal Crossing update. And it is an overwhelming amount of content. I almost died from excitement during the Animal Crossing Direct, revealing this just immense amount of content. I didn't actually die. I'm still here right now. But I was extremely excited. It was just the first Animal Crossing free update that I was unable to experience in just one sitting. And that was just the free content. So when they said Brewster and more when they announced the Animal Crossing Direct, they meant it. There is tons more. The update is by far the biggest, adding so many features both from previous games and features that are brand new. New Horizons finally feels complete. So many new items and so many returning characters. There are tons of new things to collect and customize, which is one of my favorite things about Animal Crossing. I was also excited about the new KK Slider songs, of course, being a big KK Slider fan. Of course, you won't be able to see this on the GameCast, but right now I am wearing my KK Slider shirt, which actually has DJ KK on it. But the Roost is great. Besides KK, the Roost is great. Captain is great. New shops on Harv's Island are great. Jive Wars are great. And the thousands of new things are just great. And then there's the paid DLC, Happy Home Paradise. So, about the DLC, let's talk about pricing. So, the DLC for Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise is $25. Do you guys consider that to be overpriced at all?
What does the Happy Home DLC? Is it like that one spin-off game where you had to build houses?
Is it Happy Home in the Name?
Well, is it a spin-off? Is it a
spin-off?
Is it an add-on?
Yeah, it's basically just Happy Home Designer. It's just incorporated into the game.
I think it's justified then. Depends on how much content there is. If it's enough, then I'd say they just didn't want to make an entirely different game for such a similar concept.
No comment.
So, no comment, he says. He cannot speak now.
Like I said, some would consider it $25 to be a large price for DLC. And are they right? Is the price worth it? Well, in my opinion, I think that it is perfectly priced because you are basically buying a whole new game, a whole new experience just for the price of half a game. I have been enjoying all the new designing content, though my sisters have enjoyed it much more because they have eyes for aesthetics. And it was really smart of Nintendo to include a sequel to Happy Home Designer as DLC to an actual Animal Crossing game, rather than just making it a disappointing, full-priced, standalone game. This is just what I would like to see more of from Nintendo. Smaller budget, less expensive spin-off titles reusing assets. We've seen it in game sequels before, like it's happening in Breath of the Wild 2 and Super Mario Galaxy 2. They reuse the assets and it usually makes the game's production quicker. If they would do this more, they would have to worry less about the graphical side and more about the gameplay. It would be a better situation for gamers and for Nintendo. They would get more money, we would get more games. Everyone wins. But back to talking about Happy Home Paradise. All in all, I think it is perfect price for a nice amount of fun new content. And while we're on the topic of pricing, I would like to briefly step out of the joyful and exciting news that we are discussing to say, do we all agree that Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack is overpriced, right?
I haven't seen the exact price, but I know that it's pretty high. But it's definitely not worth it, considering how terrible the emulation is. Overall, they can improve it. The only thing I'm excited for the expansion is Banjo-Kazooie, because I don't want to buy an Xbox.
And Crystal Shards.
Crystal Shards?
Kirby Crystal Shards. Or is it it's Kirby 64 Crystal Shards, right? Or something like that.
No, it's not. It's none of those.
It's
I
Kirby
think.
64 and the Crystal Shards.
I think so. Anyway, yeah. That's the only thing I'm excited for is Banjo-Kazooie, because it hasn't been on a system in a while. But it's just too overpriced.
I wonder if they're, like,
Yes,
online.
there are some genuinely exciting games in it. But I think that the main reason people have Nintendo Switch Online is just the online. It's just to play online. The NES and Super NES games are just a little bonus on the side. They're a snack,
Yeah.
not a entree, not a main part of the meal. They're just a little appetizer. But now to pay so much extra for Nintendo 64 games, as well as Sega Genesis games, most of which will be drip fed to us over the next few years at an agonizingly slow pace, is just crazy. It's just crazy. And the overview trailer for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack has become Nintendo's most disliked video, in fact, right before YouTube removed the ability to publicly view the dislike count. Now, whether or not those two events are a coincidence is a topic for an entirely different time. Well, let's just stop talking about this enormous disappointment and talk more about something that is anything but disappointing. Sora and Smash.
I gotta say though, I just looked at the price. It is not worth $20 more for an expansion to the online. When I think of an expansion, like of a service, it's usually a small fee extra to add something. Like not entirely, not bigger than buying a non-expansion. Heck, you can only buy it in 12-month packets either. You can't just buy is it a week of online or a month of online? It's a month of online. You can't even buy just 1 month of Switch Online plus expansion pack. And just it's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, I was really excited for Sora and Smash. I know somebody that was really excited for Sora and Smash. Kingdom Hearts has been a long time coming, and wasn't it for the Wii U and 3DS? Wasn't it the most top rated character to be added when they had a little poll? So it has been so long coming, and it's a great character, really fun to play.
Yes, I've had a whole lot of fun with Sora. I'm definitely going to continue to use him in Smash Bros. Along with Meta Knight and Incineroar.
Sora is so satisfying and fitting as a final fighter. Both series, Smash Bros. And Kingdom Hearts, are both celebrations and crossovers of franchises you would have never thought were possible to be in the same title. And that is what makes both of them so beloved. They are both seemingly impossible crossovers. In Kingdom Hearts, it's of course Disney and Square, and in Smash Bros, it's all of Nintendo's All-Stars, as well as some surprising third-party characters, including Sora. So, Sakurai really poured out his all into making this final fighter so fitting and fantastic. So, thank you, Mr. Sakurai. It was the ultimate end to ultimate game. And as for the fighter himself, well, to be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of his fighting style because I absolutely stink at aerial combat, and I'm better with a stronger fighter firmly on the ground. But, again, it was the ultimate end to the ultimate game. So, I think it was a very fitting way because he was such a requested and beloved character. So, any other thoughts on Sora and Smash?
I have yet to beat the first game and have actually restarted it sometime. So I'm probably going to try that sometime. And fun to play. Might actually try and get better at aerial combat.
I don't know. I didn't really like the series all that much. It felt like playing games as a kid where I would only play them to get to the next cutscene for the few seconds of joy. It's those games. Those are the worst. Where it's like, you feel the gameplay is so mindless and monotonous that the only reason you're playing is just to get to the next story beat. But hey, some of us need to play some of those games every once in a while.
And then lastly, there was Pikmin Bloom closer to the end of the month. And I have already discussed it, and it was a nice and unexpected end to an awesome and exciting month. And after all that excitement in October, let's talk about something that was, at least for me and for several others, somewhat disappointing in this month, in December. So frankly, I was disappointed by how little of Nintendo we saw at the Game Awards 2021. I mean, there were still some exciting announcements at the Game Awards, just none of them were Nintendo. What mainly interested me was, of course, Sonic Frontiers, as we have discussed earlier, a game following recent open world trends, and the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which, no offense to Fluffy, in my opinion, it's a mediocre sequel to a mediocre film. Sonic the Hedgehog was a good video game film, but not the best film. But still, a good film for a video game film. We can talk about Sonic on the silver screen later. Right now we're talking about the Game Awards 2021, of course. Looking back at Nintendo's track records at the Game Awards, it was surprising that virtually there was no Nintendo whatsoever at the Game Awards 2021. That was kind of disappointing. But does anyone else have thoughts on the Game Awards that were a couple days ago? Any announcements that excited you? All right. I'll just say that the lack of Nintendo content there was pretty much disappointing. Well, I believe that is it for news. Does anyone else have any notable news that they can think of?
No.
Right. No? Well, with the Game and Console Zone finished, it is time for the Fun Fan Fiction Frenzy. Now, we all know the drill in the Fun Fan Fiction Frenzy. No, it is not saying Fun Fan Fiction Frenzy 5 times fast, though that is entertaining. Here, in the Quadruple F, we shall dramatically perform an episode of Super KG Bros. Well, not that dramatically. For this episode is A Christmas Barrel, and it's one of the earlier episodes. Super KG Bros has gotten more serious and dramatic as it went on, but at first, it was quite wacky and lighthearted. I think this episode we shall perform today is perhaps the wackiest and most humorous Super KT Bros episode of all time. It was the first and only Super KT Bros Christmas episode. As I said, it is titled A Christmas Barrel. And it was episode 4 of Super KT Bros. So, we'll all assume our usual roles as the Super KT Bros, with myself as Optimistic Ouija, DJ Dwanner as Dr. Hat Hat, Drago as Sakul, and Fluffy as Pikachu. In addition, Fluffy will voice Bob the Penguin, I will voice Donkey Kong, as well as Dwayne Gadd, and Fluffy will voice Baby Mario, and Drago will voice Yoshi. Lastly, I will also voice Wrinkly Kong and Takumaru. So I've got quite the wide assortment of voices to do today. So, let's begin. Super KT Bros, Season 1, Episode 4, A Christmas Barrel. 3 friends, Optimistic Ouija, Dr. Hat Hat, Pikachu, and Sakul, fight the forces of boredom and uninterestedness in hats. Well, only one of them does the latter. In the country of Gameropolis...
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays.
Mamma mia! Look out! It's that the Master Donkey Kong!
Grah! Give me those bananas, you puny penguin!
Hey, give those back. They're for our Christmas party.
Too bad, Sakul! They're mine now!
It's so cool, you atrocious ape.
Bah humbug! You don't get my barrel of bananas! Later that night... Nom! These are good bananas! This is a great way to celebrate Christmas Eve! Donkey! Who's that? It's me! Grandma? Yes! It is I! I have come to hunt you! Grandma, I was always a good boy. I promise. I learned my ABCs. You liar. Of course you didn't. You can't even spell your own name. But I was a good boy. You really are a liar. You definitely were not a good boy. You killed your parents. I promise I didn't. Wait, why are we talking about your childhood? I'm supposed to be telling you something, right? Oh, right. Even though you were a bad boy. I was not. Stop interrupting your elders. It's rude. Now, where was I? Oh, right. Even though you were a bad boy, you're worse now. I mean, you just stole a whole barrel of bananas. Stole. Anyway, before the sun rises in the west. But Grandma, I'm pretty sure the sun rises in the east. Would you stop interrupting me, whippersnapper? Before the sun rises from whatever direction it rises, you will be haunted by 3 dreadful ghosts. Beware, the first ghost comes at midnight. Grandma, I must be imagining things. Yeah, just imagining things. Outside.
Remind me why we're at Donkey Kong's treehouse.
To get back Bob's bananas. We need them for our Christmas party.
I bet there's robots in that house. Probably kittens, too. Also, robot kittens will be killed.
At least we'll all die for a good cause.
Do we get some bananas? Is it that the good cause?
What's that ethereal glow coming from the window? Inside. Oh no! It's midnight! Baby Mario? What's happening? Is this Yoshi's Island? Hey, there I am! Me as a baby! Do I remember this day? Of course! It was the first time I met Yoshi. Look, there he is. He's picking me up, and we're going up and away and... Oh, I forgot about that.
I'll get you, baby Dicky!
Yeah, I did jump off Yoshi to get some bananas, but I was hungry, okay? Outside, in the present.
All right, let's get through that window.
Oh, more ethereal glowing. Lovely. Inside. Oh, I'm good. I'm back home. Who are you? I'm Takamaru. You've heard of me, right? No. I'm from the mysterious Murasame Castle? Still no? Anyway, let's go outside. What's going on? What is that noise? Laughter. Look inside.
Take that.
You're great at Smash Bros, Bobby Boy. I'm glad that DK isn't here. Do you know who that penguin is? It's Bob? Yes, you stole bananas from him. Oh, where are you going? The next spirit is coming. What? Ah! You're hideous! Why are you creepily pointing at that gravestone? Oh no! Donkey Kong the Third, 1994 to 2018? Everybody hated him and wanted to throw things at him? No! I promise I'll be a good boy. I'll be a good boy. Where am I? Is this my house?
Ouch! My head. Oh, it's him.
Wait, what's today, Saku?
It's actually Oh, wait, you said my name right. It's Christmas Day.
When is your Christmas party?
In 50 minutes. Why?
We need to hurry to get these bananas there in time.
You're giving them back.
Yup, it's Christmas. Ha ha! Outside. Merry Christmas!
Run!
Come back here!
Oh no, it's a dead end. He's gonna hate me. I'm doomed.
Here's your bananas. I've turned over a brand new leaf.
Yes, we can have our Christmas party now.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Please don't start singing. The end. Alright, great job, everybody. Now, you couldn't tell from this dramatization because the character has no dialogue, but the ghost of Christmas yet to come was Hello Kitty. The concept of Hello Kitty being such a hideous, ominous, and terrifying character originates from a Super Mario Maker course I made called The Pit of Despair, in which you would have to make it across a gauntlet over a deep, dark pit. And if you fell into the pit, you would be transformed via a mystery mushroom into Hello Kitty and would have to redo the entire gauntlet. Because what inspires more hopelessness and despair than Hello Kitty? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, moving on, it is time for the caroling craze. Yes, you heard me right. This Christmas episode, instead of a comic craze, we have a caroling craze, where we will sing a Christmas carol nonstop for 3 whole minutes. All right, so let's sing Jingle Bells for 3 whole minutes. Jingle Bells might not be a traditional Christmas carol, but at least it has some easy words. So let's sing it. All right, in 3, 2, 1. It's time for a caroling craze! Jingle bells, jingle bells,
Jingle bells,
all
jingle
the
all
way.
the way.
Jingle bells,
All the fun
jingle
is to
bells,
ride in a
and
one
jingle
horse
bells.
sleigh.
Hey, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
What fun it is to ride in a one horse open
Hey,
sleigh.
jingle bells over there, jingle bells over here, jingle bells everywhere, jingles in your hair, jingles everywhere.
Oh, what fun
Jingle,
is
jingle,
oh no.
jingle, jingle,
Dashing through the snow in a
Hey,
one horse
jingle
open sleigh.
bells, jingle bells, jingle, jingle, just hey, this is it, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
I don't know.
Dashing through the
Jingle
snow
bells,
In a
jingle
one
bells,
horse
jingle all
sleigh.
the way.
Oh, there
Oh,
we go. Laughing all the way.
Hey, jingle,
I
jingle
think that was
here,
on Bobtail's
jingle, jingle there.
Making spirits bright.
Oh,
Oh,
what
what
is
fun
to
it
ride
is
and sing
to
a
sing
sleigh
a
bells
song
all
at
the night.
night.
Jingle bells,
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Jingle
Oh, what
is
fun it is to
everyone's
ride in
favorite
one
childhood
horse
character.
sleigh.
Hey,
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle, jingle bells. We think this
Oh,
is
what
very
fun it is to
simple.
ride here begins.
Jingle bells, jingle
Jingle
down
bells,
there,
bells,
jingle over
all the way.
there,
Now the ground is
jingle
wet for all our
everywhere.
young
And
to
then
go.
jingle
ground is
everywhere.
right.
Stop the jingle
Oh,
bells.
yeah.
Distinct jingle bell smell.
Take
Jingle,
the
jingle bells
Christmas,
every day
sing
and
the
jingle
slang, song
every
of
day.
a
Hey,
boat, get the
jingle bells, jingle
day.
all the way.
44 to
Every day,
44
jingle
speed.
bells every
And
way.
it's
Jingle
into
bells,
an open
jingle
sleigh,
bells.
and you will take the lead.
Oh,
Jingle bells,
Jingle,
jingle
jingle,
bells, jingle
jingle
all
bells,
the way.
jingle
Oh,
bells,
what
jingle
fun it
bells.
is
A
to
big
ride in a
cheer,
one horse
Christmas
open
cheer
sleigh.
everywhere,
Hey,
everywhere.
jingle
Jingle bells,
bells, jingle
happy
bells,
jingle
no one knows
jingle
what we're
bells,
doing.
jingle bells.
Jingle,
Wait, I heard.
jingle over, jingle
Oh no,
everywhere.
I was thinking it
Jingle
was like
bells,
a.
jingle bells,
I don't-
jingle, jingle bells. Oh, what fun
Dashing through the snow
is to ride
in a one horse
one
open
sleigh.
sleigh.
Jingle bells,
Oh, over the
bells,
fields we go,
jingle bells,
laughing all the
jingle
way.
bells.
Oh,
Get some
bells
shit.
on bobtails
Bells.
ring,
Jingle, jingle, jam,
making
Oh,
spirits bright.
So strong, guys.
Oh,
We've
what
only got a minute
fun
left.
it is
Jingle
to
bells,
play
jingle
retro
bells,
dread
jingle every day.
tonight.
Jingle bells,
Oh,
jingle bells, jingle,
jingle
jingle
bells,
bells. Hey,
jingle bells,
goes
jingle
over
all
there.
the way.
Goes
oh,
over
what
here.
fun it is to
Goes
ride
over
in one
there.
all
And
day
every
long.
Ah, I'm giving
year.
up on this.
Really
Yeah,
don't
I gave up on
care.
this long
But
ago.
every
you guys,
day.
I want to
Jingle bells, oh jingle bells, jingle, jingle bells.
Still doing
Jingle
it.
bells, jingle
jingle bells,
bells,
jingle
every day.
bells, jingle
Oh,
all
what
the way.
fun it is to
Oh,
ride
what
in a
fun it is to
open
ride
sleigh.
upon an
Hey,
open
jingle
sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle bells.
jingle, jingle, jingle bells,
Dashing
jingle
through the
bells,
snow
jingle,
in a one
jingle
horse
bells,
open sleigh.
everywhere,
Over the hills we
every
go,
day,
laughing all the
everywhere.
way. Oh,
Jingle
bells
bells,
on
jingle
bobtails.
bells, jingle over there, jingle everywhere. We really don't care. Jingle, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride the one horse open
Bells, jingle
sleigh.
bells, jingle bells,
Jingle bells,
jingle bells, jingle bells.
and that
Jingle bells, 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 horses, sleighs, snow, bells, all the bells.
Oh, go to Weapon Beyond Call of Duty.
Come on,
Be
stop
on the map
ringing.
of it.
No, the
Go-
bells. No.
Wow. Wow. That was just amazing. It's like listening to a choir of angels. I'm sorry, that singing was just so beautiful that I'm getting emotional. I'm tearing up, and I'm not sure we can make it on this next segment. That was wonderful singing. But we must go on. The show must go on, my friends, because it's time for the tips and tricks time. So, in the Game and Console Zone, we discussed games that we have been playing recently. Now, in the Tips and Tricks Town, we shall discuss tips for games that we've been playing recently, or just any games at all. So, does anyone have tips for games they've been playing recently?
In BTT, in Bloons Tower Defense Battles 2, one thing I definitely would recommend is just use the blue balloons until they are no longer there. That's typically a pretty consistent way to get money. So blue balloons is a consistent way to get lots of eco and money.
Now, in Pikmin Bloom, the coin rate is very, very low. You'll need to plant 500 flowers to get a single coin, which honestly is very, very low. It's way too low. It's going to take you months or years to get enough coins to buy anything. So that's honestly something that needs to be fixed. But I'm not going to complain about that right now. Back to the topic of earning coins by planting flowers. You're going to need to plant 500 flowers to get a single coin. So plant lots of flowers as you walk. In addition, when sending Pikmin on an expedition, only send those with whom you have a higher friendship level. Not only will this make the expedition go quicker, but it will also get the Pikmin closer to that max friendship level. So those are my top 2 tips for Pikmin Bloom. Anyone else have any tips?
I have a strange and circumstantial tip, but it's really good. In Terraria 1.3, for the modded version, because I think everyone else just has the latest 1.4, if you get a King Slime summon and summon him in the Corruption or the Hollow underground, since the game considers when you hurt the King Slime, he drops little slimes. And those little slimes, when killed in the biome, drop souls. After hard mode happens, Corruption enemies and Crimson and Hollow enemies drop souls upon death. And the game considers them Corruption enemies when they're in there. So the easiest way to farm souls is to get a King Slime summon, fight him in the underground Corruption, and kill him quickly since he's the first boss you can fight. I use that way too much along with Fergo's Mutant Mod, which allows you to buy boss summons. Anyway, that's it.
Alright, so those are some nice tips. Go for blue balloons and plant flowers and fight king slimes in very certain circumstances. So nice tips. Alright, let's move on to our final few segments. The first of which is Magazine Madness. In Magazine Madness, I shall give an update on the latest issue of Kiro Tarakai, as well as other upcoming Kiro Tarakai projects. The long-awaited 30th issue of Kiro Tarakai has finally been completed. As I said on the first episode of the GameCast, this issue has a celebration of the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong and the ending of Super KT Bros in the Time War. Issue 30 just broke the record set by issue 28 earlier this year by becoming the longest issue of Kiro Tarakai ever at exactly 100 pages. So this issue has been released to our subscribers, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to bringing more exciting issues to you soon, as work on issue 31 of Kiro Tarakai has now begun. As was previously stated, the Kiro Tarakai homepage launched alongside issue 30. With the Kiro Tarakai homepage, you can now access the latest and oldest of Kiro Tarakai content, and everything in between. I'm very excited about it, and I hope you enjoy it. In addition, a few days ago, we had the 8th semi-annual Kiro Tarakai Corporate Executives Meeting, where the authors of Kiro Tarakai looked back at 2021 and looked forward to 2022. I always enjoy these meetings. They're a chance to talk about exciting new Kiro Tarakai plans and to play a ridiculous amount of Smash Brothers with my friends. Magni Amikai Fermiores qua Magni Numeri Sunt. Great friends are stronger than great numbers. That's all for Kiro Tarakai news. Let's move on to our final major segment, Q&A. Okay, Q&A is our last major segment for the Kiro Tarakai GameCast. Here we'll answer questions from the subscribers of Kiro Tarakai. So here we go. Our first question is, what is your favorite Christmas gaming memory?
I know one. On Christmas, for LEGO Battles, you can unlock Santa Claus. That's all I can remember is trying to do that. But I would always forget to do it because, Christmas. So I have eventually unlocked them.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard to think of something with so many Christmases and so many things. Since I'm typically like anti, okay, I'm ranting. I guess it'd have to just be getting the Switch or something or console or something. It's kind of the only thing that comes to mind would be the Switch. So
Yes, getting a console, around Christmas time is always a big deal. I'll always remember the day that I got my Wii and also Wii U, and of course the Switch, and to a lesser extent the SNES Classic Edition. Those are all good memories. It's always good to find that console, when you anticipation of getting that console and playing the new games. So I got, like I said, the Wii U, Switch, all a few days before Christmas or on Christmas Day itself. Those are all very good memories. But I think my most cherished Christmas gaming memories may involve games rather than a console, however, software instead of hardware. It may be the time my family got Mario Kart Wii on Christmas Day, and all of us kids just went upstairs to our console room to play it, just then and there on Christmas Day. Good old Mario Kart. But if we're talking more just about the general Christmas season, on December 3rd, several years ago, I first played the first Pikmin game. That was my first experience playing a Pikmin game, and I will never forget it. I almost immediately fell in love with the Pikmin games. So that, as always, are my several answers. All right, moving on. Our second question is, what is your favorite Christmas food?
Not really. Okay, this is for both of us. But on most Christmases, our family would have a big Christmas breakfast with waffles and just a big mainly waffles. They were good.
big breakfast essentially, which is the best thing to have a big version of.
Yep, always good to with family, have a big celebratory breakfast on Christmas. All right, so I have a specific answer. My mom is a fantastic cook, so she has tons of just delicious recipes that I love. My favorite one of her Christmas time recipes are her raspberry truffles. She makes all these different kinds of truffles, these peanut butter truffles, Oreo truffles, but my favorite of all of them are her raspberry truffles. So they are rich devil's food cake along with raspberry jam rolled into a compact ball and dipped in melted chocolate so the chocolate forms a shell around it. So delicious chocolate encasing a ball of rich devil's food cake with delicious raspberry flavor. That description doesn't exactly do its deliciousness justice, but let me just say it's delicious. Okay then, it is at last time to return to the time known as trivia time. All right, I shall finally reveal the answer to the trivia time question asked at the beginning of the episode. The question was, where did the name Tetris come from? And the answer is tennis. The creator of Tetris's favorite sport, and tetramino, a shape consisting of 4 squares, which, of course, all the shapes in Tetris are made of 4 squares. So it's not a Japanese word, not a Russian word, but it's tennis, which doesn't make much sense, and tetramino, which does make sense. I don't know. The creator of Tetris did just like tennis, apparently. So that's the answer. Now, here's an extra question. What is the best-selling version of Tetris? What do you guys think is the best-selling version of Tetris?
I'd have to say the NES version.
I don't even know.
I feel like it would be that. I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
How many versions of Tetris are there?
Well, there was a version released for PS4. The point being is that yes, there are a lot of versions.
Yes, lots.
I just feel like I've heard somewhere NES version, but that might be something else different.
The only thing I only heard, like, you know, was like obviously original Tetris, whatever that might maybe called. I think there's Tetris Effect. That's just something I've heard.
That's the latest one. So any
So,
guesses,
yeah.
Fluffy?
I'm not educated enough on the many Tetris iterations.
They're all just Tetris. It's just what system is it on?
Yeah.
Except for 3D Tetris. And like a few exceptions.
All right. So the answer is the mobile version of Tetris, published by EA. Of course, anything mobile is going to sell because it's so portable. The mobile version of Tetris has been downloaded 100 million times. So it is currently the third best-selling game of all time. So that's the answer. The best-selling version of Tetris is the mobile version of Tetris. But the best-selling version of Tetris on a more legitimate console, on a more console that you would actually consider a console rather than a mobile version, is, of course, as Elijah said, the combined sales of the NES and Game Boy version of Tetris, which sold 43 million copies. All right, so that is the answer to trivia time. Now it's finally time to say goodbye. We have come to the very end of this episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast. It has been very nice having all of you guys on, and I'd like to thank you all for coming. So, any final words?
Thanks for having us here.
Nice to be here.
My voice is very. I was gonna make like a. And never mind.
Well, it's been nice to have you guys too. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast. See you later. Another episode, another whole bunch of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast. If you have any questions or would like to be a guest on the GameCast, please reach out to me at capnate28@gmail.com. I'd be very happy to have you on the GameCast. For more Kiro Tarakai content, check out the Kiro Tarakai homepage, the link to which is in the description of this episode. I would like to once again thank our guests for coming, and I'd like to thank you for listening. Happy Christmas and Merry New Year. I'm Fawful DX, and I shall see you next time on the Kiro Tarakai GameCast.
Crazy guys are crazy